In a small village in the eastern part of Nigeria, there lived a young man called Ikin. Ikin was the richest man in his village even though he was an orphan. This was because his late father, Chief Umis, left him a fortune. Ikin had a very big farmland, a herd of cattle and a flock of sheep. He was the envy of everyone. Despite being the richest man in the village, Ikin was respectful and hardworking. One day, Ikin was in his farm when a thought suddenly came to him. How am I sure that these villagers love me? How sure am I that they are not plotting my downfall? Ikin asked himself silently. I know what to do, Ikin thought and smiled. He mentally applauded himself for being so smart. 3 days later, Ikin went to his farm as usual. He took his cattle and sheep to a nearby bush to feed. Then he walked towards the village and stopped at the entrance of his farm. Please, help me. Terrorists have attacked my farm. They are carting away with my cattle and sheep, Ikin cried out in panic. Please, don't kill me, Ikin cried out in fright. Meanwhile, he was holding a local gun. He raised it up and shot into the air. Then he quickly poured red paint on the shirt he was wearing and lay down on the floor. Somebody help me, I'm dying, Ikin shouted. The villagers ran to his farm with various weapons to rescue him because they thought he was truly under attack. This was because the nation had been experiencing terrorist attacks in some parts of the country. Oh my God, Ikin, are you okay? Oh my goodness, he has been shot. Let's take him to the hospital. Which way did they go? These were the comments of some of the villagers while others ran into the farm to probably apprehend the terrorist. However, Ikin suddenly stood up and started laughing. Oh my goodness, I got you, Ikin said after laughing to his fill. Ikin, what's the meaning of this? How could you joke with something like this? An elderly man, Chief Azuka asked angrily. Chief, I'm sorry. It was just a prank. I just wanted to find out how much you love me, Ikin said calmly. Don't apologize to me alone. Apologize to everyone here, Chief Azuka said with a frown. I'm sorry for pranking you. I just want to find out how much you care about me, Ikin apologized sincerely. The villagers began to murmur. They were clearly unhappy with Ikin's behavior, especially when other youths were looking up to him. The villagers were all angry at Ikin. They could not believe that he would joke with something as serious as that considering the state of the country at that time. I promise it won't happen again, Ikin quickly added. The villagers angrily walked away murmuring. However, Ikin did not keep to his promise. He repeated the same prank once a week for 2 weeks. The villagers would run to his rescue, only to discover that he was just fooling around. As usual, they would disperse angrily. However, after the 3rd time, the villagers reported him to the king and Ikin was summoned to the palace. Ikin, can you explain to me why you have been pranking the villagers with terrorists attacking you in the farm? The king asked calmly, but Ikin could tell from his facial expression that he was far from being calm. I'm sorry, Igwe King. I was just trying to find out how much the villagers cared about me. I promise it won't happen again, Ikin said with his head bowed. You are always sorry. I was told that you have repeated the same thing thrice in 3 weeks, the king said with his voice slightly raised. I'm sorry, my king. I promise it won't happen again, Ikin said with his head bowed. It had better not happen again, otherwise you will be banished from this village. You can go, the king said with a note of finality. Ikin bowed before the king and took his leave. True to his words, Ikin didn't repeat the prank. He started doing his normal activities. The villagers were once again happy with him. Some weeks later, Ikin went to his farm as usual, but he was suddenly attacked by some bandits. Please, help me. My farm is under attack. Please, help me, Ikin cried out while the bandits took off his cattle and sheep. But no one came to his rescue. They thought he was pranking them again. The bandits beat Ikin to a stupor, carted away his cattle and sheep, and set his farm ablaze. Ikin lay dejectedly looking at his burning farm and the fading figures of the bandits as they went away with his livestock. The villagers saw the smoke of Ikni's burning farm from afar and quickly ran to his rescue. However, it was too late. By the time they got there, the bandits were nowhere to be found and Ikin was unconscious and bleeding. They rushed him to the village hospital. Ikin spent 3 weeks in the hospital due to the severity of the injury he sustained from the attack. He went home after being discharged from the hospital. However, his life was never the same again. He became poor as a result of the incident. He was feeding from hand to mouth. As a result of that, he was compelled to sell his big farmland in order to meet his needs. He managed to start up a small business with the money he realized from the sale of his farmland. He got married and had children, but he lived his life in regret. This was because he was never known again as the richest man in the village. Though he was able to take care of his family, he regretted playing that dangerous prank which led to his misfortune. The villagers used his story to teach their children morals.